But I was there in London when you won the silver. I was there in Daegu, competing in the heptathlon in 2017. But the one thing that really stood out to me the most, in order for you to reach number one in your speciality in the world, it hasn't always been easy. I feel like your story is one of uphill struggle, like a lack of sponsorship, missed medals, missed Olympic Games.
First of all, first question, do you feel like everything went right? You gave everything you had? And if they say yes, I'm like, that in itself should be the most amazing feeling, because there are so many that get to that day, tweak the hamstring, tweak the toe, ankle or something, and they couldn't. That's a whole different feeling that you don't want to feel. Each race, each event, each jump, throw, anything, it's your time to prove to yourself that you're that fighter.
Welcome to Slay, the podcast where we dive into all aspects of female health, fitness, and life. I'm your host, Louise Hazel, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing what to do when things don't go the way you planned. Today, we have an extraordinary guest who's not only achieved the pinnacle of success as a gold medal winning Olympian, but also continues to inspire athletes around the world. She's a former 100-meter hurdler whose illustrious career in track and field has left an indelible mark on the sport. With her wealth of experience and profound understanding of what it takes to compete at the highest level, she's here to share her wisdom and insights on what we can expect from this year's upcoming Olympic Games, but also how you at home can learn from the highs and lows of elite athletes to pick yourself up when life goes left. In this episode, we'll dive into the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead and discuss strategies for managing the mental and emotional pressures of competition and life. So whether you're an Olympian or a sports enthusiast, or simply trying to pick yourself up from one of life's ups and downs, then this episode is for you. Without further ado, please welcome Olympic gold medalist Dawn Harper Nelson. Dawn, what a career. I was going through our show notes earlier, and I was reading through your accolades as one of the undoubtedly the best hurdlers that the US has ever seen. Facts, hands down, it is what it is. You know that. So we've got the 2008 gold medal at the Olympic Games. We've got a silver medal at the 2012 Olympic Games, 2017 world silver medalist, 2011 world bronze medalist, and in 2022, you were inducted into the UCLA Hall of Fame. Dawn, wow. You didn't wake up a gold medalist though, did you?
Ooh,
Absolutely. No. Take me back to the beginning. How did you get started in track?
Oh my goodness. I was a gymnast first, so I did gymnastics. I was that little girl tumbling around. But I was the one that played with all the boys. Like anything the boys was kind of doing, because I was rough. I want to play football, basketball, all the things. And then one summer, somebody told my mom, I think Dawn should try track. I think she'd really like it. And I was 12 and I went out for track. I just remember it was the most freeing feeling. I just felt like it was the first time I felt like I got tired, right? I feel like they were like, go, and I'm running. I'm like, the wind on my face. You know what I mean? The energy, it was just everything. So I fell in love at the age of 12, but I was a flat sprinter and I found the hurdles at the age of 14. And that's when everything changed.
What changed for you? How did you find the hurdles? Because who just simply finds 10 barriers to run at? How did you fall into it?
It pretty much, no. So my junior high school coach in the 8th grade, he told me, he said, Dawn, I think with your speed and your intelligence, you could master the hurdles and be the best in the world. And real naive. And I remember him saying that. It was like, okay, coach, what does that really mean? Right? I'm 14. And at practice, though, the first time I went over the hurdles, it was hideous. I remember him saying, there's no way on God's green earth somebody could be this bad. And I was like, sorry, dream can't come true.
Savage.
I'm here. He turned me around when my back was to him and he pushed me and I caught myself with my left. A lot of people, especially back then, thought right lead leg.
Absolutely.
You're probably a left lead leg. And literally the next time I went over the hurdle, I was better than everybody else on the team. And he was like, this is what I envisioned. And
wow.
Be fun. So that's how I found the hurdles.
What an amazing level of intuition for your coach to have, to even think outside the box and be like, you know what, that was ugly. Let me see what this has to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
The funny thing was, quick story, I was out and I went and hurdled. Haven't hurdled in 12 years. I hurdled on the weekend and I didn't realize that I kicked my left. I went for a left lead leg and I was like, that felt disgusting. Oh my God, I've forgotten how to hurdle. Forgot that I'm a right lead leg. which basically means I'm hurdling with the wrong leg for those of you out there that don't know. But listen, Dawn, like, you know, one thing that really stood out to me is I'm reading through your accolades and I'm like brushing up on your story, because we were at a lot of the same championships. I didn't make the 28 Olympic Games, but I was there in London when you won the silver. I was there in Daegu, you know, competing in the heptathlon in 2017. In 2011. But the one thing that really stood out to me the most, in order for you to reach number one in your specialty in the world, it hasn't always been easy. I feel like your story is one of uphill struggle, like a lack of sponsorship, missed medals, missed Olympic Games. Like, I heard a story about, you know, you coming up through those ranks and still not having a kit sponsor, a shoe sponsor. Talk to me about that.
No, when I started out, 2000, I graduated from UCLA in 2006, and my sophomore, junior year, indoor, outdoor, I got third at indoor nationals, outdoor nationals, indoor nationals. And so my senior year, I got third indoors. I'm like, my senior year, outdoors, and I got fourth. And no one's gonna sign fourth. Like, you got fourth place in college. No one's signing that, and no one did. And it was very hard because I had a conversation with my dad, like, you know, I want to, you know, continue and chase this dream of track and field. And he said, and it's funny because you have to understand, your dream is not meant for everyone else to understand and kind of even support, right? Even someone as close to my father. My dad says, yeah, we sent you to UCLA to get a degree so that you can get a real job. He said, track was fun, but it's time to step into the real world. And I remember thinking, like, but I feel like I have more in the tank. And so
Absolutely.
I told my dad, I have a 2-year plan. So it was 2006. I have a 2-year plan. And you're right, Father. I have a degree. And if it doesn't work, I will use that. But I'm going to plan to the best of my ability. And so I trained for 2006, 2007. 2008 comes around and I end up having knee surgery February 29th. It's a leap year. And in my group, though, there is the defending Olympic champion, Joanna Hayes, world champion, Michelle Perry, and then the collegiate record holder that ran the collegiate record on me, Jenny, you know, Powell. She went to USC. Boo, terrible school, rival. So she ran that. And so she got this amazing contract. Everyone in my group comes to practice every day in their Nike gear,
their kit.
Exactly. Brand new cars, like decked out. And I'm driving this old car my dad got me. I mean, I'm out here like on a hope and a dream. And surgery. And I just remember thinking, how could God think that I could handle one more thing? Like, I'm already every day believing when everything around me says you're crazy. There are 3 people in your camp that are better than you. Why would you take 3 in the US? Who you gonna be? Right? And you have to have a sense of, like, you gotta be a little crazy to believe every day.
I would say slightly deluded as well. But it's real.
Yeah, it is real. But and that's what's hard. I say you have to have a team that is as delusional as you, right? That's all the little things, the things that you feel like, if I just got the chance, if I just got the chance. And for me, that was Bobby. I mean, and mind you, this is Bobby Kersey. Like, Bobby's getting paid. Like, his expertise is, I mean, it is top tier. And could you believe in me just a little longer? And he did. And so, you know, to come out and when I made the team and got third by 0.007, I remember leaning for the line and leaning for my life and not knowing, right, if I made the team. Make the team, no contract. And then I go to the Olympics, still no contract. And I told my training partner, Michelle Perry, I called her and I said, you know, I feel like I shouldn't have to buy my own shoes. So we wore this. I said, do you have any shoes in your closet that does not have your name on them? And she said, I have one pair. And she gave me that pair. And that's what I won the Olympics in, Michelle Perry.
Wow. What a G. What a G. So you went into that Olympics basically with a slither of a hope of even qualifying. You qualified by the skin of your teeth. You went into that Olympics still an unfunded athlete, still without the equipment, and also, you know, going in like feeling like an underdog, but you came out number 1 in the world.
It's still crazy.
What is it about you that means that you can go out and do that, compared to somebody else who's like, I don't, maybe even not even make the team that year, maybe not even get that to the Olympics. You know what I mean? Barely even think about what even they're going to wear, and let alone get the gold medal. What's different about you?
I think that I like this question because right now I'm thinking of how I'm going to apply this to even today, what I'm going through. I am someone that will, honest to God, fight to the very end. Like,
Mm,
you see someone say they're running the 400 and they're coming out the turn and they're trying to catch somebody, like, oh, they're going to run out of real estate. I'm the type that will believe until I cross the line. Like,
mm,
because you just never know. Like, I'm like 50 meters. Okay, well, I got 50 meters, 40 meters. Well, I have some people are like, oh, it's 40 meters. I'm like, that is so much room to, change your life. I'm going
mm,
to believe, and I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to ask my coach, now, what is on the calendar today? All right,
mm,
I'm doing that. Tomorrow, what is on the, like, I just, because I want to know that if it was not meant to be, that I'm going to be a little sad. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be sad,
mm,
but I'm so clear it wasn't meant to be. And not like, I mean, maybe because like last month I was kind of slacking. I
mhm,
with those. I don't want to live like that. And that's like I said,
mm,
but I think that's what I mean. A true fighter. I can vividly remember some races where
mm.
I'm down like a hurdle and I'm like, they're in trouble because I have a lane. And it looks like, oh, it's over. And then you hear the announcer like, wait, there's no. I'm like, because you gotta believe until it's over.
Absolutely. So you're literally like not ever giving up. You're never. I guess the phrase is like, as long as you have a chance, there's literally no one's coming past you, no one's beating you. The only person, you're giving it everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
you're never not gonna try.
Yeah. You can't, because another thing is, the sacrifices that we make to really commit yourself to something,
Hmm.
and this is whatever you're doing in life. So when you really, I mean, you have made all the changes. You live in a different place. You in
Hmm.
a group where you're like, this is what's going to be the best for me in this dream. Why would I give you an inch?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I not.
Hmm. That's a bloody great point. I love that philosophy. I saw you post recently on Instagram, the week after the trials, a personal message to all of those athletes that didn't make the team, i.e., didn't make the Olympic Games. What prompted you to make that post?
Oh man, because I know the weight, the heaviness of not making it. I know what it's like to put your life on hold, so to speak, right? I'm talking about relationships, kids, other dreams that you're so clear. One day I want to, but I know the Olympic year is such a small window, the chance, it comes once in a lifetime. I
Mm,
know what it's like to put all that on hold and to have family and friends, your coaches, sponsors, all of that. You bring all of that on this journey. And when you
mm,
take it, the amount of failure that you can feel, there's no way that anyone can talk you out of that. There's nothing oh, well, tomorrow. And you're like, well, tomorrow isn't here and I'm sad. Tomorrow isn't
mm,
here and I failed. You can
mm,
you pile it on. And your coach is like, I'm proud of you, kiddo. And you're like, you're just lying. You're trying to say this. You can't see daylight.
mm,
And I know that feeling.
mm,
For that in 2016, when I
mhm,
did the team, I felt like the ultimate failure. Like, I could not believe that anyone ever believed in me. Like, I was just like, what are you saying? Like, you won the Olympics and you got silver. How are all of a sudden you this failure? Well, I am.
mm,
And I can't believe that I put it all out there and it didn't happen. And I just let like any fan that ever clicked on something for me, I let them down. And I just knew that that's how so many people were feeling. And I wanted to say that, in a fun way, those of you that don't feel this, swipe on, go on. Because, some people are like, I just know it wasn't for me on this day. And I just know tomorrow will be, I can't see tomorrow. So I want to talk to the people that are under their covers still. And it's about 3, 4 days afterwards. And you still
mm,
see the light of day. Because sometimes it hits different and it sounds different and you express it different when you felt that. And
mm.
so many people that were like, that's it. Literally, that's exactly how I felt. Literally, that's what I was saying to myself. Literally, you're making me realize that I do, first of all, still have a season left because trials is like late May, June.
This was an amazing point that you made. And I just want to put into context, when you didn't make the team in 2016, That was 0.01 hundredth of a second, and you came in fourth place. So it was literally a nostril hair, wasn't it, that separated you from your goals. And when we're talking about sport, that's how cut and shut it is. That's how black and white it can be. But go ahead and tell me what you were telling, those youngsters that were reaching out to you, and what you were reminding them of.
Right. Well, I was also, what you just said is a point. You know how you said it's very black and white? I was also reminding them we have to be very clear when we chose this life, because as much as we say, oh, track chose me, the hurdle chose me, the help chose me, we chose this life and we walked into it knowing that it is black and white. So many people have got 0.01 and not made a team. You've seen it. You've seen the tears that were not tears of joy. Like, you're very clear that I could be on the other end of that. You're hoping and doing everything you can, but you could wake up on that day and that be the worst day of your life. I was telling them that after you have this worst day of your life, something that we all say and we try and live by is, I am not, one race does not define me. Like, you will not define, when it's a diamond league, we're like, one race, I'll be ready. One race does not define me. Well, if this is true, the last time I checked, the Olympic trials is one race, one event. So if we want to live by that, we got to stand by that in its good and the bad. Because even when, okay, it's still one race, right? We can't live on that and say, well, I'm done. Well, if you want to be great, you got to come out and show up the next day and the next day. But if you want to be great when it doesn't go right, you got to show up the next day and the next day. And so point out to them that you could be running great. One race doesn't define you. You could be running bad, competing bad, and one race doesn't define you. And so telling them, as sad as we are, there's still so many ways that you can minimize the things that you fear. Like for me in 2016, I was fearing contract is going to change. You know what I mean? Sponsors, all these things. Well, I can give myself a fighting chance if I go out here and maybe still run a season best. Show face and show that I can be the face of someone that things didn't go right, but I'm still a monster. I'm still a killer. Still a, because we say it. Well, I can't use you if you go and just hide, right? So it's been a lot of people that turn their story around to be that positive person that shows their emotion of devastation, but then shows how you come out of it. And so just kind of speaking to them about that.
So for those athletes who didn't make the team, or for anyone out there who didn't make the team, whatever their team is this year, last year, whenever it was, in track and field, you come out in June, July, trials are like July. We've got how much more of the season left and how many more opportunities to get it right? And what do you say to those people?
I say, first of all, first question, do you feel like everything went right? You gave everything you had? And if they say yes, I'm like, that in itself should be the most amazing feeling, because there are so many that get to that day, tweak the hamstring, tweak the toe, ankle or something, and they couldn't. That's a whole different feeling that you don't want to feel, because now you're hopeless and you're like, I did all these things. Why on this day? But you were able to give everything you had on the day that you hoped and prayed for. That is the most amazing feeling. Or if you say, no, it didn't, okay, we got more in the tank. We still cooking. Season over. I'm very clear. Cry, get it out. Oh, you need to, ball, put your face in the pillow, scream, holler, punch. Put your head up and say, all right, coach, what's next? What week? What do I need to do to come out swinging? So that's what I would say, whether it went good, like I said, pure execution, or if things went wrong, you have a fighting chance. So each race, each event, each jump, throw, anything, it's your time to prove to yourself that you're that fighter.
How important do you think it is to pick yourself up after, not just as an athlete, but more importantly as a human being after you face struggles?
I think you have to, because we want to look ourselves in the mirror and know, and I say this, I'm a solid human being, meaning no matter what comes at me, I'm going to stay strong, right? Once again, I love to say this over and over again. I didn't say it would be fun. Like, moments when you're like, what happened? Those aren't fun, but it is a beautiful thing when you can look back at it. Like when you just said, oh, Dawn, you missed the team or something. And I laughed. I'm like, see, I can honestly laugh about that now, because I vividly remember coming back after 16, like, there's a race of me where I crossed the line, and I mean, I'm full on. So I think it was in Paris, and I think I got like second or third, and I had a good time in that race, and I was smiling because I could not believe that I found joy in
Mm-hmm.
after not making the team in 16. And
Let's also put into context, not only did you not make the team 16, you came back and got a world silver in 2017. So like when we talk about this dexterity and amazing mindset that you have, you've constantly put that to the test. Do you know what I mean? Bouncing back and being like, okay, 2016 didn't happen, but you know what? I'm still that monster. Give me that damn medal.
still that monster because I mean, I come back in 17 and the first of all, the oldest in the field. Who said that? Why are you saying that? But I remember it kept being like the oldest in the field. I was like, hey, we get it, people. And right. And then
Britain, the
right,
Brits.
only American to come home with the medal in the hurdles, right? That
Mm-hmm.
it was like I'm everything I thought I was. And I didn't think when I was younger, like I won a lot in high school, right? I was undefeated in high school, like I never lost a race. And so there are moments when you feel like, will I ever see accomplishment in not winning?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time that I really realized that I did find like being satisfied was actually in 2012 when I got silver. And I remember crossing the line. It was a quick moment. It was like, right, I tied the Olympic record, but I just did 0.02. And so,
Yes.
but I
But you
remember it.
ran a personal best?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yes. Like roll. Okay. So it was one of those like, and I remember there's a picture of me going like this, and what I was saying to myself in that moment was, it was like, because you're still like, darn it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
my prayer was, I wanted to be in the best shape of my life. I wanted to be healthy, and I want to give the people a good show.
Mm.
Those three things happen. So when you check yourself and you take a step back and you
Mm.
didn't defend my title, but literally we were one of the most talked about at the time. It was the fastest hurdle race in history.
Yeah, I remember it.
Really crying because I mean, I PR'd, me and my coach. I mean, it did work. I'm still Olympic gold medalist. Now you're going to get silver. There's so many things that I'm not going to take away from all the things that went right because of the thing everyone says.
And I'm not going to lie, that was a bit of a slow track, wasn't it, London?
So it's funny, people saying fast. I was like, put me on a real fast track. What am I, 12 too?
I was like, that track in London was slow. Facts. So the fact that you ran as fast as you did was insane. Dawn, what's your attitude towards failure? Where does that come from?
Ooh.
Like, who instilled that in you? Is that something that you built over time, or is it something that someone else put there?
Because I remember after I won 2008, 2009, I came out swinging. Like I was rolling. Like one of those, when things click, confidence is dangerous. 2008, still trying to find myself. I'm like in my training group, building confidence, but you're like, uh-oh. And then you win. And the next year, I'm like, no, I understand this game a little bit. I understand the hurdles. I knew I had the talent, but now I know I have the talent. And I remember getting to World Championship.
Berlin.
I got seventh. I was the favorite to win, and I got seventh. And I remember going to the back. And that was the first time I felt that type of, I let people down. It wasn't just for me. It wasn't just that I lost. I felt like I had let Bobby down. He had so much time, so much effort. And I felt like I had arrived and I was now his new hurdler that's supposed to go and win and dominate. And I remember going to the back and it was hard to even see him. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like and he embraced me. And I cried so hard in his arms that he looked at me and he said, if you take your losses this hard, you will never make it in this sport. That's when I was like, we got to figure something out because this isn't, I felt so unworthy. And it's like, where did that come from? Like, where did unworthiness come from? And that's when I had to make a change and take off a little bit. I still, deal with a little bit now where you're just going after something and you're like, you're worthy. But that was the moment where I realized, like, over time for me, since 2009, building that, like, you're loved no matter what. It's not, it's the fact that you can put a smile on anybody's face when you come into a room and, through your ups and downs, you're going to remain positive. So,
don't you think that's a little bit of the athlete condition, though? I feel like as an athlete, personally, I'm always at the best when I'm on my back foot. You know what I mean? Put me like fifth best in the field.
Dangerous.
Exactly. Put me at the front of the pack, then there's no scarier place to be than the person with the target on their back. And I think the difficulty is still believing you're that person when you're at the front, because you can get so sidetracked with everything that's going on behind you that you forget what you're there for too, right? What are some challenges and opportunities as well do you think that the athletes in this upcoming games should be prepared for?
Ooh, well, I mean, a big challenge already. They have to put their phones away, like social media, because some can juggle it, and I think some can't. Some think they can juggle it, and some
Yeah.
can't. Because world champs, great. Collegiate season, great. It's still a different monster. When you see those Olympic rings, it's a totally different feel. You feel like your life is on. You realize the dream is on the line, and so you got to put the phones away, because you can get on there and you look and all of a sudden you're like, oh, people are saying this, or so and so ran. You knew they ran this, but now you're like, the world knows they ran. Hey, everybody, put the phones away. Nothing is changing about your event. Nothing is changing, and that also pertains to life, right? We see something and all of a sudden people have comments on this and the way we look and the way we talk, and all of a sudden we see ourselves different. It's like, no, you were still this amazing person before anyone ever said anything. So I think that's going to be a challenge. And then just the norm. I think the normal is your first Olympics, or you've been here a number of times, like a Shelly Ann Fraser, right? She has these desires, these things that she wants, and it's like, look, mama, pocket rocket, like this, the pressure that we put on ourselves, because again, there's nothing like those Olympic rings.
So true. And they're already calling this like the social media games. And quite simply, I would say 2012, 2008, that era of athlete that we came from, we didn't really have to deal with that. Instagram was just arriving. If you were like able to get a picture after the games and post that to Instagram, then that was basically as good as it was getting. But now, like, people are doing videos, TikToks, they're doing the most. And we know that that's an environment that can be extremely energetically draining. Like, tell us what it's like in the village as an athlete.
So first of all, it is amazing, because I say the Olympic Village for me was the place where it was put in perspective. The world is here, right? I remember being in the village and you're walking around, and at the time it was me and Allison Felix, 2008. We're walking, and I remember we're talking, and all of a sudden we look back and we're like, I don't know what they're speaking. Like, we didn't know the language of the two people that was talking behind us. And then there was someone in front of us and they were speaking a different language. And then it was like left, right. We're like, the world is here. It was so much. You know it. You learn about it in school. No, literally, the globe is here. The world has sent their best of the best. I say this, specimens were walking around, right? Literally, the best bodies, the tippity top. It was so crazy to see it. Actually going to practice. When you're at practice, everyone is fast. That was really, really weird. No one looks bad. You go to some races and you're like, oh, okay, they let this person into lane 9, or this a lot. No, like the best of the best were here. So really dealing with that mental struggle of, because we know fast rhythm. I don't know if you ever you warming up and you hear a hurdler hurdling. You're like, fast rhythm. Like you just
it's like a heartbeat. It's quick.
Coming out the blocks. I'm like, oh, she made those blocks talk. Whatever. Like so many things that just pour into you, whether you realize it or not. But then I say I love going into the dining hall, where you walk in and it's just any food you could think of.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. And but look, I say the trusty dusty, always McDonald's to the back right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
No matter what. And then another moment that to me put in perspective the world was there. I remember standing inside my room and looking out on the little balcony we had. And it was like every country kind of had their flag draped over the balcony. And that it was like we were always kind of in a circle. And I just remember being like, yeah, the world is here. It was really.
There's a crazy sense of pride, isn't there, in it? And it's extremely patriotic at the games. I feel like you really do, not only are you there in your solo event, but you're representing yourself, but you really are representing the team and your nation. Talk to me about the key differences between competing at the national champs, the trials, and then going on to compete at the Olympic Games.
Oh, the big difference is, first, when you're at the trials, and because you're an athlete, you know what I'm saying. Every hurdler there was an enemy. Like, they were just an enemy, straight up. Like, there's no other way to look at it. You're not from USA yet. Like, none of us have made it. So USA means nothing right now. I am here. So, I got to make this team top 3. And every single one of you are in my way of doing that. I'm not hoping you do well. Like, to a certain extent, I could care less. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm here to make the team. And I love how when you cross the line, the way the 3 athletes hug each other, it's like friendship come from, because it's all of a sudden like, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for you. It's like,
I think it's the relief.
Oh, point blank, it's a relief. Like, it is like, I'm so happy that you get to see me too. It's like cover up. But literally, once that happens, the way that you kind of bond and come together, because literally you're wearing those 3 letters on your chest, you're like, we're going to war together. And it's like, because I want gold, you want gold, so we're going at it. But it's almost, let's get to the finals, and then all bets are off again.
Absolutely.
Because a sweep would be awesome. And then I don't care about you again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Let's talk about how competitive the women's 100-meter hurdles are this year. Please. Like, we've got, in the top 5 in the world, 3 Americans.
Yes. But let me say this. Let's be honest. Before trials, it was not that way. The running well, but we were not, like, you knew, like, America's always going to be a threat. So that's just, but it wasn't like, oh my goodness, so-and-so was in the race. It was like, no, Camacho, Toby Amusan. It was other people. But but that's what I love about our trials. It's probably a world lead. You know what I mean? Like,
it's exciting.
It is just going to happen. So I love the quiet, like how it's silent before the gun goes off. And the gun goes off, and you literally, magic is happening in 12 seconds. Like, most awesome thing. So for me,
12.25 seconds.
What are we talking about? Like, the fact that a 12:39 did not make the team. What are we?
I know. For those people, like, are we going to see a USA 1, 2, 3?
Listen,
at the Olympic Games,
I think that we have a really good chance. But let's be clear, Camacho. She's a fighter. Camacho, don't care what you did 2 seconds ago. The fact with me, let's go. Toby Amusan, the world record holder, right? We have like an okay season, and then boom, world record. You're like, wait, pause. Just because you think in order to run a world record, it's supposed to line up and look exactly. No. So I am like, once again, the Olympics brings out magic from everyone. So I think we should have 3 Americans in the final, but they're going to make no mistakes to go.
No room for error. But let's also talk about that. How much in the short time that, like, you've been out of the sport, how much has the hurdles come on? Like, so when we're talking about 12.25 winning the trials, when we're talking about 12.39 not making the team, like, your personal best, was it London 2017? You ran the 12:37?
No. Well, actually 2012. That was
2012.
The Olympics. Yes. So 12:37. But to be honest, I think what is the hurdle is just competitive, and I'm going to go, and because somehow the talent is just there. Somehow in the US, there's no shortage of talent when it comes to the hurdles. And so, because when you decide to be a hurdler, you are very clear that everyone here is talented. And when you want to take a challenge, we're cut from a different cloth. I say this all the time. We're cut from a different cloth. Not just because of competition. I'm trying to run 10 barriers. You got to be off your rocker.
It's the nature.
Way, right?
The nature of the event is such that you're throwing your body at full speed at 10 barriers, knowing full well you could hit anyone, clip anyone, lead, trail, whatever, at any moment.
Over. And like you get to hurdle 9 and you're hoping that 10 comes faster. Like, you should want to stay. We're always wanting to push the barrier. And so to me is why it's opened the door to faster and faster times, because, well, if you're ready, I know if I want to line up with you, a world record holder, well, I have to make even more sacrifices and I have to be even more disciplined. I got to be stronger and I got to. So we're willing to make those sacrifices when I think sometimes in other spaces, people can brush off certain things like, oh, I'll be ready. And the hurdles, anytime I like,
Mhm.
have to be.
Mm. Would you ever run the 100 flat? And what was your personal best over the 100 flat?
So 100 flat is I even hate saying I don't even remember what it is. It's so ridiculously slow because Bobby was at the time he really said because of the different stride pattern and stride that you have to have for the hurdle is shorter and quicker.
Hmm. Hmm.
I always had hamstring issues in college, and so he's like to have you open up and go full speed in the 100. That's different than doing a 150 at practice.
Mm.
So I never professionally never ran a 100 race. So that might even be from like my freshman year in college.
Hmm.
Remember running 100. So
Mm. Interesting.
yeah.
Looking back at your own career and knowing what you know now, is there anything you'd do differently?
Ooh, yes. Oh, absolutely. I would enjoy the time between. No, I was such a like I had bought into
Hmm.
the what have you done for me lately? You know how you run a race
Mm.
and then the kind of like, well, can she win? Can she? Can she? Can she? I had bought into that. I have to win. I have to perform. So much so that I had even and listen, anyone listening, don't judge me. I had I would win a race, and there would be trophies they would give you, and I would leave them in the hotel room like, I'm on to the next race.
Wow.
What are you
Wow.
exactly? Like once I married my husband, he was so funny. So like he would start going to meets with me, and he was like, "Wait, what are you?" He's like, "Are you leaving this? No, we're taking this." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And he's like, "You've been doing like he could not."
How many trophies do you feel like you've left behind?
And I'm sad because I want them all.
Oh, they're probably scattered all around Europe.
Listen, I said, all the people coming in the room to clean were like, "Did she?" I know.
Oh, crazy.
Very clear. I would enjoy it. I was such a like there were some places I went to, I wasn't leaving the hotel room. I'm like, I don't have time to tour. I don't have time to see sightsee. What are you doing? Get up. You're here 3 days early. Yes, you can.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, I don't know. So that.
Yeah, I feel like it's really interesting. I feel like actually when you retire from track and field, you allow yourself to be a human being again.
Yes. Nice.
There's a there's very much a difference between being an athlete and a human being. I
Yeah.
think a lot of my clients think I'm really soft. I'm like, I'm not soft. You just don't want to see that animal again, you
Yeah.
know?
Tells me, I think I was like, okay, he makes me feel better about it. He's like, I hear you about like, oh, you wish you would have. He's like, but I think that made you. He's like, that was a reason why you were so great. Like you, because to a certain
Gives
extent,
you
you understood, like you listen, and you knew I
yeah.
wanted to give everything I had. So
There's something about it just gives you that edge.
yeah.
Now, talking about edges, we're going to play a game to
Oh,
wrap it up. This game, Dawn, is called Head to Head. This is the greatest battle that the 2024 is going to see, with the exception of the Olympics in a couple of weeks. We are putting together a little, basically, is either going to be two people or two topics in a versus battle. You're going to tell me who's going to win out of
yeah.
those two people. Are you ready? All things.
Okay.
Whomever is your preferred winner. Don't think about it too much. Let's have a quick fire round, nice and clean, chip chop. We're on the starting blocks. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Number one, Masai Russell, Akira Nugent.
What are you doing to me? I will exit this interview right now. Okay, USA, Masai.
Quick fire, flats or heels?
Oh, flats.
Noah Lyles, Kenny Bednarek.
If I know this, I kid you not, I would have never. I would have never. These are really good. I. Okay, that's all I have. I don't know because, yeah, the rapid fire, none. Like nobody, nothing. Because I
No
don't.
one's winning?
Because I said no one.
Oh. Jamaica Gold, she's saying. Okay, number four, Kendrick versus Drake.
Oh, Kendrick,
Okay, that was easier. Number five, Coke versus Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Oh, interesting. That is going to be controversial. Okay, women's 4x100 meters. Team USA versus Team Jamaica.
Oh, Team USA.
Fair
Let's go.
enough. Number seven, Nike versus Adidas.
Nike.
Number eight, mountains versus the beach.
Ooh, ooh, bow. mountains.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Number 9, sprints versus endurance.
Oh, sprints.
Absolutely. Don't let us down now.
Right.
Number 10, yoga versus Pilates.
Yoga. My husband's a yoga instructor too, so bam.
Pow. Dawn, that concludes this episode of Slay. Where can we get more of you? I know that you have a show on Magnolia Network. Tell us a little bit about that, and then tell us your involvement in the upcoming Olympics.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So they followed me in my story, my journey to coming back to track and field after I had my daughter. And so they went kind of through the ups and downs, the yays, the no's, the who, why would you choose this life? But yeah, it was really exciting because they got a piece of my family. And then they got me, and it's a lot of tears and triumph and more tears. But yeah, super exciting about that.
I love that. And then you're going to be joining the team, aren't you? You're going to be doing commentary?
Yes, NBC. So listen, everyone. I am so serious when I say to go after your dreams, it does not have to look a certain way. And I say that because I was told, because I'm like, I want to broadcast, I want to work with NBC. Point blank, they're like, oh, you need to do this, you need a bunch of years of this and that, and you probably won't be able to. I started with USA Track and Field, but I said, hey, who has one contact at NBC? I sent the message out to NBC and said, hey, I will be interested. They got back to me and said, we would love to have you. If I did not bet on myself again, I would chasing another dream. So once again, sometimes it has to look different, but do it.
I love it. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us on the Slay podcast. You're also available for public speaking as well.
Yes,
I just want to throw this out there. Like, Dawn, I think you're one of the most inspirational athletes and with some of the most inspirational stories of the sport to tell. And if they ever got left to go unheard, that would be an absolute disservice to not only us as humans, as women, as sports women, but also just to the world of sport. So I'm so honored that you've joined us today. I hope that you can come on and perhaps share more stories, perhaps ones that we don't know about, and just keep inspiring people. We absolutely love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
That concludes this episode of Slay. Stay tuned for more empowering discussions on female health, fitness, and life. You can follow me at Louise Hazel on social media, and you can follow Dawn at dharp100mh. Check out the Slay brand now at Slay Athletic, and don't forget to subscribe to the Slay podcast if you haven't done so already on YouTube, and leave us a comment. You can also get fit at home using the Slay app. You can download it now for free from the App Store and join our online community. Make sure you type in Slay Challenge.